What up, cucks? It's your boy, the Hater. And today, I'm going to talk about one specific match from WrestleMania and why nobody wants to see it. Maybe this will be a new mini-series until WrestleMania. The match I'm talking about, of course, is the Intercontinental Championship match between Gunther and Sami Zayn. Now, while I personally think Gunther is overrated, and as one of you put it, he's just another Ezekiel Jackson who's in less good shape, which is exactly it. Like, he's just a serious guy with a few moves, but we have to elevate him into something great because we're told to, basically. That's the only reason. People are like, he's great. Yeah, he's great, and that's it. Nobody can articulate why he's great. Nobody can explain it at all, except for, like, random aphorisms, like, oh, he's great in the ring. Like, is he really? Why is he better than Ezekiel Jackson? I don't know. I don't care, right? But the real problem here is obviously Sami Zayn, right? Because while everything I said about Gunther is 100% true, the fact remains that he has been pushed. So he deserves a spot on the card just because he's been Intercontinental Champion for like a year, right? So it's like, let's say he continues to be Intercontinental Champion for another year. Like, he's going to get a spot in the next WrestleMania as well, right? That's perfectly valid. It's perfectly fine. I have nothing against him being on the card, obviously, right? But I do have something against Sami Zayn being on the card and in such a match that is considered to be high profile, right? In the sense that someone could be elevated from this. And if Sami Zayn were to win, he's not going to be elevated into anything because, number one, he's been an Intercontinental Champion before. Number two, last year he main evented WrestleMania, so this is a step down. Obviously, when I say he main evented WrestleMania, I'm talking about night one, which everyone knows doesn't count. But nevertheless, main eventing night one is still better than being in a throwaway Intercontinental Championship match, right? So it doesn't help Sami Zayn at all. Like, if he wins, it's not like he made it in this moment. It's like that one time when Cody Rhodes was wrestling the Big Show at WrestleMania, right? And it was like presented as this like big deal for Big Show, right? It was like, oh, can Big Show win the IC title? The one title that's eluded him. It hasn't eluded him. He just didn't care enough because he was a main eventer his whole career. And now that he's like in his jobber years, right? They're like, oh, okay, let's give him a win against Cody Rhodes, I guess, right? Who cares? It doesn't really matter. It makes no particular difference to me. But the truth is that, quite frankly, I'm not saying that Sami Zayn is better than the IC title in my opinion. He shouldn't be in the company. But certainly, kayfabe-wise, Sami Zayn shouldn't be looking at this as his big opportunity, right? He's had bigger opportunities and he's had bigger moments than this will ever be, right? So him winning the IC title here is just like someone winning it that it's achieved something much greater, right? It would be like Randy Orton winning the U.S. title. Like, okay, great, he became U.S. champion again, but he's like a 14-time, whatever. I think he's a 14-time world champion. So it's like, so what if he wins the U.S. title again? Who cares, right? He's been the world champion 14 times. Nothing else matters other than the world championship. And in fact, in my opinion, people like Randy Orton should be disqualified logically from being in U.S. title matches. But here we are. Now, another reason, the main reason why I think this match is garbage, is because it represents yet another missed opportunity. The only thing that Gunther can do with the IC title is continue to hold it, or drop it to someone that has not been Intercontinental Champion before. That's the thing that makes the most sense. So the person that wins can say, oh, I finally achieved the dream while also beating Gunther, right? Otherwise, you might as well keep it on Gunther because what's the difference if Sami Zayn is the champion, right? You have to start the circle jerk all over again. You have to pretend that the Intercontinental title matters once again. Oh, Gunther really put a lot of value on it. No, he didn't. Nobody cares at all about the Intercontinental title. As a matter of fact, this match could easily happen on Raw and nobody would blink twice. Now, in the gauntlet match that Sami Zayn won, Chad Gable had I wouldn't say a good showing because he was like the last guy that Sami Zayn eliminated. So he didn't even eliminate anybody, right? The better way to book this would have been Sami Zayn comes out last and Chad Gable beats 4 people if they really wanted to put over Chad Gable or turn him heel or something, right? So he can play the I got screwed over multiple times card, which would be valid for someone that got screwed over multiple times. But that's not what happened. People like Chad Gable because, quite frankly, he's just better than Sami Zayn in every capacity. He's better than Sami Zayn at everything that is required to be a pro wrestler. In my opinion, he's more charismatic. In my opinion, he's better on the mic. And I don't think anybody would doubt that he's way better in the ring and that he's in way better shape. So it's like, what exactly does Sami Zayn bring to the table? In my opinion, absolutely nothing. But anyways, I digress. The point here is not about Chad Gable. The point here is about the missed opportunity of Chad Gable, right? Chad Gable just represents the missed opportunity because, in my opinion, it could be Chad Gable. It could have been The Miz, right? Even though he's been Intercontinental Champion multiple times. If he wins, I think he breaks the record. So there's something there, right? There's like, it makes the match feel more important. But a battle between the current Intercontinental Champion and a former Intercontinental Champion over the Intercontinental title is not sufficient, right? In the past, we'd have these matches, but there'd be some sort of story, right? Like, it might be like, I don't know, Regal versus Jericho, right? But there'd be some sort of story, or there'd be some sort of stipulation, or there'd be some sort of hook. And I'm not talking about WrestleMania. I'm talking about a throwaway, like, Backlash or something, right? There would be a story, a hook, Duchess of Queensberry rules, etc., right? And the build-up would also have been legit. Jericho and Regal would have cut promos against each other. Jericho would pee in Regal's tea, and so on and so on. But the storyline here, as usual, is basically another, I have to finish the story. A few weeks ago, I don't remember what the occasion was. I think it was a throwaway segment on Raw. But basically, Sami Zayn had an interview with some girl that I don't know, right? And he was like, last year I proved that I belong in the main event and that I can be a champion. And it's like, dude, you've had countless opportunities to be champion and you've had multiple titles that you didn't deserve. So this is nothing new, right? But now he's like, no, I know I can be a champion. And it's like, what are you talking about? What, like, when you became NXT champion, that should have been enough to, like, indicate that you are, quote unquote, I hate to say it, championship material, right? The fact that people can win what are considered to be world titles, like the NXT title in many ways is a world title, right? Like, the winner of the Rumble can challenge for it. So it's considered to be the third highest level title in the company, even though it's obviously not treated as such. It's considered to be as such, right? So it's like, when someone's champion, they should be confident, right? If you've been Intercontinental Champion before, you shouldn't be surprised that all of a sudden you want to be champion again, right? As a matter of fact, you know, considering that he has been Intercontinental Champion already, and he hasn't gone after the Intercontinental title for like 3 years, he should be moving on to bigger and better things, at least conceptually. Obviously, he's not equipped for bigger and better things, so he's not going to move on to bigger and better things. Nevertheless, the point stands. He should be seeking for more, right? Maybe at the tail end of one's career, like Randy Orton, okay, you can justify putting him in a U.S. title match that he's not going to win, right? Just because, like, okay, fine, like, we have nothing to do with you because the championship matches are kind of taken, so we're just going to put you in something that at least has some exposure, not because of the U.S. title, but because of Logan Paul. Like, that's one of the matches that I'm looking forward to, just because it has Logan Paul, and therefore it's going to be a crazy match probably, right? And beyond that, I don't care, right? Beyond that, it's not important. There are ways to put the Intercontinental title over, right? Like, in my opinion, one of the best ways that it was done was when Rey Mysterio became Intercontinental Champion, right? Rey Mysterio is a legit main eventer, right? But because he's small, it really is not feasible for him to be the world champion when you have people like Braun Strowman on the roster, even though Braun Strowman comes back for one match and then leaves for like 2 years. I understand the irony of that. But by having Rey Mysterio have a lengthy Intercontinental title run, right? You always have exciting matches that involve someone who's great, Rey Mysterio, and it should be a source of pride for him because he went from cruiserweight to world champion because Eddie Guerrero died, and then he stuck around in the main event where he belonged and where he belongs today. But at the same time, it's like, we know intuitively that he's not built for the main event because unfortunately he's just short. Otherwise, having a former Intercontinental Champion become Intercontinental Champion again at WrestleMania is a wasted opportunity. It's like when Daniel Bryan became Intercontinental Champion 1 year after he won the world title at WrestleMania, beating Batista, Orton, and Triple H, right? Now he's having trouble, like, wrestling, like, I don't know, Alex Riley. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell is that all about? But nevertheless, it doesn't matter. The match in and of itself is also going to be boring, right? One thing that Gunther and Sami Zayn have in common, of course, is their very, very limited movesets. You already know what the match is going to be. It's going to be kick out after kick out after kick out, and Gunther is probably going to win. I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, who cares who's going to win, right? But it's going to come down to Gunther either putting him out with, like, a choke. I don't think it's going to be a powerbomb finish with a choke, or Sami Zayn's going to hit the haluva kick, right? And in one of those, like, get up moments, you know, where Sami Zayn's, like, nearly dead, and he's like, get up. And then, like, Michael Cole's like, Sami Zayn's got one more in him. He's got one more in him, Pat. And then Sami Zayn's going to hit it, and the fans are going to pretend to go crazy, right? The fact is, nobody cares about Sami Zayn, and quite honestly, nobody really cares about Gunther either, right? He gets almost no TV exposure. He just comes out there and cuts promos. Periodically, you'll have a match that's like, a very competitive match, but I don't know why he's supposed to be this dominant champion, right? And people just aren't giving them the reactions. I don't think people are going to care enough for this match. We have The Rock on this card. And in both nights, The Rock is going to be implicated somehow. But we'll talk about that another time. Anyways, Sami Zayn versus Gunther just has mid-card jobbers written all over it. And that's the only good thing about this match, is that we can firmly say these guys are at the maximum of where their capacity is. The mid-card, cucks. The mid-card.